Have with me in the studio lecturer from the University of Lagos, Dr. Dan-Ikpoyi, one of our regulars. And we also have another public affairs analyst, Sijibomi Adebiyi-Benet. Good morning, gentlemen. Nice to see you both.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Right. Let's begin with Daily Trust. That's where we start from this morning. Daily Trust is saying Buhari's ministerial list to be ready this week. As the Senate President Lawan is saying that it seeks approval for 15 special advisors. Okay, we have that on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning. Moving ahead, now let's go to the Nigerian News Direct. Buhari's ministerial list ready this week. Lawan is saying that. That's the Senate President. Okay, from there, let's go to the Nigerian Tribune. 145 Naira fuel pump price no longer sustainable. NNPC is saying that it's 350 Naira per litre in neighboring countries. GMD of NNPC is saying that. These are new revelations that is coming up from the NNPC so far. I guess we'll be talking about that shortly. They're moving ahead now to the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper this morning has Nigeria's public debt now 24.9 trillion naira. That's the Debt Management Office revealing that. Stop borrowing, excuse me, stop borrowing, find other ways of raising money. LCCI tells federal government. That's the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Current debt profile can drown Nigeria if borrowing continues. Atiku is saying that as vice presidential candidate of the PDP and former vice president. Let's move on now from the Vanguard to the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper says Mohammed Fashola Onu set to retain cabinet seats. Kachiku Aribishola Adebayo Ambode likely to join. You have all of those on the front page of the Nation newspaper. And he also has a breakdown of likely names to return to the ministerial list for the next dispensation. If you grab a copy of this, you can certainly see the details of all of those. Okay, gentlemen, this headline on the Nigerian Tribune, the headline of the Nigerian Tribune that talks about the pump price, that says 145 Naira fuel pump price no longer sustainable. NNPC saying that, and the new GMD of the NNPC is Mele Kyari is quoted as saying that it's about 350 Naira per litre in neighboring countries. So the consideration to review the pump price might be in the burner. I wonder how this is going to come to Nigerians and what you see about this. Dr. Ekere, let me start with you on this.
No, thank you. Well, it's not surprising to me.
Why not?
Because we're told that the pump price was going to come down to 40.
Okay.
All right. And it rose beyond what was at that time, you know, the price that the former government, you know, fixed. So if at the end of the day it's going beyond 145, I won't be too surprised. But the important thing is that now you must look at variables. Neighboring countries, it goes for 350. What is the quantum of oil that these countries produce? The things that they produce themselves, are they selling it at the same rate to others? That because it goes for such an amount outside, then those of us who own this thing, it must be like this. All right? So you must look at all the variables.
Including inflation rates.
Everything.
And the value of the currency.
So if you are beginning to look at just the price as it obtains around us for a commodity that you have, and you are the one giving it to them. So you don't expect that you'll be buying it at that same rate because you are the owner. So I think the challenge is really about refining this product.
Okay.
Because for as long as we continue to sell crude and import refined products, obviously we are going to be buying like others. That is why the GMD could have the guts to begin to make such, you know, comparison. Now, if I own a farm and I harvest, you know, my crops, and it is selling for such an amount, are you telling me because the thing goes for that amount elsewhere?
I should sell to myself.
Yes, that is what you are saying, because that's exactly what they are saying. But I am thinking that they need to think beyond this level of just trying to create enabling ambience for them to, you know, inflict more, you know, punishment on the Nigerian public. We own this product. We shouldn't be the one looking at what obtains there. We should be the one to dictate what should obtain outside.
All right. Sijibomi, when it comes to the issue of refineries working and all of that, the new GMD has said that he is going to ensure that the 4 refineries pick up and work to maximum capacity by 2023, all things being equal. In this country, as much as I can remember, I don't remember when all the refineries, all of them worked at 100% capacity. But the point there is, he said he's going to have that done. And by 2023, we also expect the Dangote refinery to have also kicked off. So are we looking to the prices of fuel really coming down drastically to something between 30 and 40 naira?
Mike, it's not possible.
Okay.
This is not rocket science. If we have all our 4 refineries working today, and we even have Dangote come on stream, the price of fuel cannot be less than 120 naira per liter.
Why is that?
Because we don't live in an isolated world. All the comparisons we make they don't apply to petrol. OPEC determines the price. So far, we're a part of OPEC. The average price of crude oil in the market now is $65 per barrel. You have 159 liters in a barrel. It's what you can do on your phone. So by the time you multiply $65 per barrel times 360 naira, which makes $1, then you divide it by 159. Even on a liter, you're already getting close to 120. So it's not possible. So when politicians come during elections and bandy different estimates to you, it's for us that we know, and the politicians are very coy. You will never hear the main contenders, mention or issue those kind of statements. They are just propaganda made by party members and all other people to just hoodwink people. It's not possible. So when we have all these things going, the only thing that can help us, we can subsidize, quite all right. But with the kind of country we have.
But the IMF and the World Bank, and they are all saying we should remove subsidy.
That is where
Nigeria should remove subsidy.
That's where I'm going to now. We can subsidize as a nation so that we get for even cheaper. But everything is wrong with our nation. Our borders are porous. We don't have patriotic people. We don't have many patriotic people serving. So you can't, an average Nigerian that knows that if he buys even at 200 naira, we'll be able to sell at 300 naira in Benin Republic. If he gets it, he will do everything to take it to Benin Republic to get more money. So the subsidy that you are trying to get to your people, the government ends paying more for citizens of other country.
All right.
So the only thing we can do is take the subsidy out. But I think if we plan ahead, because planning is key here, and give Dangote refinery middle of 2020, encourage him with everything we need to encourage him with. Then let them bring in the private sector into our own refineries. Let them get these things working. Then give Nigerians like 1 year to plan ahead. So even by the time you do proper deregulation, then we're good to go with any price you give to us.
We are also expecting some modular refineries here and there. There's some in Edo State, some in River State, some in Delta State from what we hear, and even in Anambra State. And we also expect more to spring up. But Dr. Ekere, the point there is, when it comes to the issue of subsidy, we have a history, we have antecedents, and Nigerians have not been very happy with the way that subsidies have gone over the years. If that is suggested, as Sijibomi is saying, because we understand the landing cost for oil and all of that is close to 200 naira. And so when you do all the calculations and all of that, there still has to be government intervention somewhere.
Certainly. There's nothing wrong with government intervening. What is government after all? If it is not about the people, all right? So there's practically nothing wrong about it. But the truth is that, like Achebe has said, the challenge with Nigeria is that of leadership. Have we really had the leadership that has really, taken time to think beyond the box and say that this is what is really good for this country and this is how to go about it, the roadmap. Beyond all these things, they brandish in the name of, programs of their parties and manifesto and the rest of it. which perhaps you don't even find the way to their implementation. I think that has been really, you know, far behind. So the most important thing to do, leave the issue of these modular refineries. Dangote is not a Father Christmas. If anybody is expecting that with Dangote the situation is going to be different, I think we're just deceiving ourselves. The man is a businessman.
Exactly.
And he's not going to put his products down for you to just, you know, come and pick and get out.
We even
All
understand Ghana has already is subscribing for a quarter of, you know, supply of fuel from supply of
So at the end of the day,
from,
we are still going to be around the same
Dangote
circle.
refineries.
You know, we're still going to.
Okay.
I think it's all about management.
All right.
It's all about governance.
The Buhari's ministerial list to be ready this week. Lawan seeks approval for 15 special advisors. And then we'll move on to the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. Buhari's ministerial list ready this week. Lawan. On the front page of the Vanguard, Nigeria's public debt now 24.9 trillion naira. Debt Management Office there speaking. Stop borrowing, find other ways of raising money. Lagos Chamber of Commerce tells the federal government a current debt profile can drown Nigeria if borrowing continues. Atiku also speaking. I'll move to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. 145 naira fuel pump price no longer sustainable. NNPC. It's 350 naira per liter in neighboring countries. The GMD speaking there. We move to the front page of the Blueprint. NNPC GMD making petrol available at 145 naira per liter difficult, says Nigeria's oil cheapest in West Africa. And finally, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, Muhammad Fashola Onu set to retain cabinet seats, while Kachuku Aregbesola Adebayi-Benet likely to join. Well, those are the stories on the headlines, front pages of newspapers this morning. But then we'll be looking at the story on the front page of the Vanguard, gentlemen. Nigeria's public debt now 24.9 trillion naira. That's the information we are getting from the Debt Management Office. How alarming is this? And the question on the lips of some, how did we get to this point? I'll start with you, Sijibomi.
Yes, it is really alarming, and I think governments from 2007 have failed Nigerians.
How do you mean? That's very weighty.
Yes, it is very, very easy for, like I read Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who raised the alarm and said everybody who is a good citizen of Nigeria must be alarmed about that. Because as at the time he was leaving with Obasanjo, they were the ones that made us to be debt free. Because Paris Club and all those things, we can see the refund that were given to states now because of the over deductions of those times. But if Nigeria was free in 2007, free of debt, and we started from that 2007 till 2015, free of debt, and we started from that 2007 till 2015, it was 12 trillion naira. And within 4 years, it now catapulted to 24.9 trillion naira. For political exigencies and languages, the APC and PDP have been having breakbacks. But let me tell you why I think it is both governments that have failed us. 12 trillion naira as at 2007. Or let's say 2015.
Yeah.
As at 2015 was $75 billion. That's 12 trillion because the APC, the PDP always takes it in naira form. Then the APC takes it in bill.
But we must consider the economic realities at that
That's
time.
what I'm saying. They take it in dollar format. So that's $75 billion as of 2015. But you know, these people have doubled it to 24.9 trillion. Which the difference now is at 360 is $35 billion. So one gave us $75 billion, one gave us $35 billion. But that is not the crux of the argument. What we're saying is, what should we do now
Before we get to what we should do now, let's get the pulse of Dr. Ekere on this matter, because the government sometimes say that its debt to the GDP ratio is what is required even on international circles, and so it's not as bad.
Well, they will never tell you anything is bad. They are the ones handling. They brought us to that level, so why would they ever tell you it's bad? But the point is that you know that if you are in debt, it's a bad thing. Now, essentially, when the debt is not, about production, it's more like something of consumption, if you look at it critically. On the issue of, petroleum products, we have issues of subsidy that you cannot actually verify, figures upon figures, and all of that. Then we had the issue of, states not being able to pay salaries and the rest of it, and monies were. So when you look at it critically, we have not actually taken these things in order to boost production. Agric is suffering. And today, if you actually eject much of these funds we are talking about into that area, perhaps we will be doing better. But when you begin to look at it from the point of view of how it was incurred and for what, then you obviously...
It's the government says it's for infrastructure.
That's what we've always heard.
Projects.
But go around the country and tell me where those infrastructure are. Are we now enjoying electricity? Can we transmit more than the usual? Or what is it that has actually improved? Is it the state of the roads? Or what? Is it the schools?
So what are we doing with these funds?
So that is what that's a challenge. You keep hearing, when somebody like Professor Sijibomi comes out to talk, it's fluid when he talks. So at the time he gives you those very sweet orations, you think everything is well with Nigeria, but we know that the roads are bad. We know that our medical facilities are not functioning optimally. We equally do know that even the refineries are dead. They have been turnaround maintenance that has maintained them into death. So at the end of the day, you begin to wonder, where are all these monies plunged into? But certainly they will tell you areas that they have done. The common man wants to see life
But there are still projects that we can see that the government has funded.
Beautiful. We have seen at least Amechi has told us how he boarded a train from Lagos to Ibadan. But it seems like he's the only one who has done that over time.
No, a lot of people have done that.
Where are the trains? Is it those dead coaches that are coming from Butemeta and the rest, or what? So, look, we must be realistic about Nigeria. We have not gotten it right. We have not. We have not even, if you ask, what is the Nigeria project itself about? What is the Nigeria dream or nightmare now? What is it? You can't even pinpoint that this is where we are going.
The government has promised to take Nigerians to the next level.
The next level is not even defined. So tell us what that next level is.
Building on what it achieved in its first term.
That's where it becomes very challenging, because I've been looking at what they have built on. Our schools are still bad. Electricity is still bad. The roads are still bad. So what level are we talking about?
So invariably you're saying this is not sustainable.
We should focus on those critical areas and see how much of it we can do, actually. Because those things that can make all of us be in that race to, produce whatever we can is what will really help us. And one of it is electricity. Until you address that challenge, the issue of employment, what kind of employment are we actually talking about? Is it about giving everybody a military job or what? That will not help us. Those who have creative capacities, let them, exercise whatever, skills they have. And much of this is tied to electricity.
All right, let's get Sijibomi now. You wanted to talk about the way forward out of this.
Yes, the way forward is for the government to change its stance and...
when you say change its stance, how do you mean?
The federal government cannot provide infrastructure for Nigeria.
Really?
Yes, we have to privatize. I always try to get an overview, an holistic view of all these things. How much is even the Nigerian budget? You're talking about less or average of $25 billion every year. So what does that do?
All right.
So you don't have any other choice than to borrow. But the only way to go is privatize. Okay. Let's have all these roads.
How successful, another question would be how successful has the privatization been so far?
So in terms of refineries, in terms of power sector, make the environment conducive, let investors come in. In as much as people can see value in what they're paying for, they will pay. The Lagos model is there, Lekki Expressway is there. It's been told. You can do all these things across the nation.
All
and
right.
let's have at least a sensible kind of approach to
At
all
least the
these
ports have been privatized, and yet we are still having challenges with them.
right.
Electricity has been privatized. There are still challenges.
That's why I asked how successful
And
have the
it's not
privatization
about
been?
the government not being able to do. In fact,
but
we
then-
must break this bulk of everything being in Abuja. We must break it.
All right,
Yes,
Dr. Ekere, we have to
to.
leave it at this point, gentlemen. Sijibomi Adebiyi-Benet, thank you for your time. Dr.
Thank you for having
Ekere,
me.
thank you for your time.